Okay.
Let's see. It was my mother's grandma, so it'd be my great grandma, wouldn't it?
Is your mother's grandma?
Yes, it'd be your great grandma.
Okay. My great grandma had 5 children, and the bushwhackers came and shot her husband in front of all of them, and then turned around and set fire to their house. And she was just sitting out there in the road with 5 little children. Nothing.
And that was in the 1800s? 1900s. No?
It would have been 1800s.
Yeah, it would have been.
So like 17 something?
1860s.
No.
Like 1900s. 1860s, okay. 1860s.
Maybe
I'm
even a
guessing.
little earlier. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Okay.
And her name was Polly Ann Hughes
Mm-hmm.
Coates
Mm-hmm.
after she remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Coates was her remarried name.
I forgot you guys are related to the Coates.
Why? Oh.
Bunch of Coates in West Plains.
There's some coats here in Mountain Grove, too.
You're either related to the Coates or the Petticoats.
That's what they used to say.
The coats or the petticoats?
Yeah.
It's either related to the coast or the petticoat.
Which we're not technically related to the coats. Right? Or no, we
We
are.
Oh,
might
yeah.
be somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Coates was the married name, her married name, but what other Coates are we related to?
Oh, wait, and that was the great-great-great-grandma?
Yeah, but that was after she got married, she became Coates.
So the kids are coats.
Should have been.
So we got blood coats, too. We have coat blood in us. Is what I'm saying. We're descendants.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, so
There
we
would
have
be.
coat. We have coat in us.
and there's Richardsons too. Somehow. And Armstrongs.
I know there's Armstrong in me. I'm stubborn like an Armstrong.
Didn't you say that Armstrong was more of the Indian line, you thought?
Mm-hmm.
Which is so weird because your daddy was light skinned.
She ain't got no Indian in her. I ain't got no Indian in me either.
Well, what happened to it?
That's popped up yet.
That's popped up yet. Lynn, I bet
Oh my
is
goodness.
Or
Indian.
Lynn had a full-blooded grandma that was
Yeah.
Indian.
Cherokee, right?
I don't remember the.
I think he told me it was a Cherokee grandma.
But anyway, Cherokees are the most.
Civilized?
Pleasant, easy to get along with than the other tribes.
You think?
Cherokees are the easiest to get along
Uh-huh.
with? Oh, okay. That's why there's so many people with Cherokee blood in them.
That's what I've been told anyway. Of course, I don't know.
I think it's because they intermix with so many different people.
Maybe.
But I think his grandma, a few things I heard, she was kind of mean.
Yeah, Lynn. I think Lynn told me that.
Yeah.
On his mom's side,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And Aunt Juanita had like 11 brothers and sisters.
Crazy.
And then
They
she-
were hungry.
probably.
They were.
I asked Lynn one time why they only had one kid. Because, well, you know, Uncle Pete came from 4. Aunt Juanita came from 11. Why'd they decide just one? Maybe.
What did he say?
He's like, I don't know. I never did ask him. And I was like, Grandma, you were best buddies with Uncle Pete. Why did he only have one kid?
I never asked him.
You didn't- What is with these people?
Probably
not
because he
asking?
didn't want to see Juanita to go through misery. Probably. He
Was
was
it-
so tender-hearted.
Oh.
Pete was very tender-hearted. So was Mother.
What happened to you?
She got her daddy in her.
Were you a daddy's girl, Granny?
He said it was. I don't know.
You must have been if you got his personality.
But I can sure see a lot of Bill and Susie Ann, though. I can see a lot of it, you know.
That means you wear your heart on the sleeve.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, she told me lots of times Grandpa was always sad and crying about something. Right?
Well, he was tender-hearted,
Yeah.
big-hearted, far bigger-hearted than I was. And then he'd come around and say, "You was right. I should have listened to you."
You're probably like, yeah, you should have.
But it's too late in the day.
Just need to get more cats.
Cats?
Yeah, and be home with them. Me.
You need more cats?
So they can poop more all over the house.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
thinking.
need to get you a schnauzer dog.
I'd like to have a dog, but I would like to have that big dog.
I know what kind of dog you want.
What do I want?
You want to have her knees.
Which one's that?
Beverly's.
Oh, that's a good dog. They're very timid though.
They are very timid.
They are
He's
very
not timid when strangers come to the door,
Oh,
though.
really?
At all.
No, he's very
Teeth
protective.
bared, growling, making up
Oh.
a storm.
The-
He doesn't treat me that way.
No,
The first
he
time
has-
I met him, he did that to me.
yeah. You wouldn't know it.
No,
Big dogs bark and little dogs bite you.
you know,
Hey, dang, diddle all day.
big dogs bark and
Little
big dogs bite you too.
You found that out, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Sure did.
But I think a schnauzer is just so sweet. Dwayne, my boss that I worked for, had a schnauzer.
Like
That-
weasel.
that- yeah, it was like a weasel. That was the smartest dog, and Dwayne had chickens. And when he'd get a little baby chicken, then he'd raise them on up, you know. But he'd get these little baby chickens and put them in a pasteboard box and made a little hole so that dog could look at the chickens. He wouldn't bite, and he never licked you in the face or nothing. And he'd go with him after the chickens got bigger. He'd go with him down there and to gather the eggs, just try to. And when on the janitor routes in the wintertime, he'd take that dog with us, and he'd take a blanket and put over him while we went in the store to clean the stores.
Mhm.
He says, "Drum," his name was Drum. He said, "Now, Drum, just stay there nice and warm while we clean the store, and we'll be back after." That dog just lay there till he come back. His mind about so good. And so did Weasel, Pete's dog. Sometimes he'd start barking and get a little sharp with his voice, and one he'd say, "Well, shut up."
I remember.
Man, his ears just go down, and he just calmed down, just so humble.
I forgot Aunt Juanita used to be so sometimes, like hard.
She's like me, she's quick voiced.
She did, yeah. I kind of forgot because the last few years that she was around, she was quiet.
Silent.
Yeah, she was so quiet. But boy, I remember she used to scare me when she'd say "shut up." She was.
I had a lot of good times with one of them.
She had big Thanksgivings.
Didn't she though? Renee enjoyed it too.
This big.
Big crowd.
And they'd have all the food on that table. And there's no bald spot on that table, and everyone would just sit everywhere.
Yep.
In the living room.
Yep.
Wherever you could find a chair, you sit and eat.
Yep.
That was.
That's been our Thanksgiving the last couple of years.
It has been our Thanksgiving.
And the deer hunters would come in around Thanksgiving. Some people didn't like the deer hunting, but he got along with the deer hunters that come down from St. Louis. And they had the cabin over there in the woods where they stayed while they was deer hunting.
Mm.
And they'd cook up this deer meat, and they'd invite Pete and Juanita to come over and eat with them. And Juanita bake a pie, and she'd go over there and eat with them deer hunters. Yeah, she made many a pie.
She used to go to they both did. They went to the singings over there at Houston.
Oh, that was good singing too. I went with
I
them.
never got to go.
No, you missed out too, because they had some real good singing
Yeah.
there at the F. What do you call that place? F something.
I can see where it's at, but I can't remember what it's called right now. It's by the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
At Houston.
From what I understand, that Aunt Nina and Uncle Pete ran around everywhere.
They did quite a bit.
They took vacations with Dwayne and Wanda. Went everywhere. New York, I think they went to California. I'm not for sure about California, but anyway, They went through them.
Canada.
Yeah. They went everywhere.
I don't know how they did that with a farm.
Well,
I do know
I
how
milked
they
their
did
old cows.
it. Huh? Do what?
I milked their old cows while they was gone.
You did.
Yep.
I was gonna, so did Lynn too, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But there's one year, I was working for Dwayne, and he didn't want to let me off from the job. But he wanted to go with him on a vacation. They always went together. And Pete says, well, if you don't let her milk my cows, I can't go with you. So he let me off, and I milked cows while they was gone.
Boy, he had a lot of cows too, didn't he?
I think he usually had about 40 to milk.
I was thinking.
Oh,
Something
okay.
like that.
That's not that bad. I was thinking
No.
100 cattle.
Oh, no, it wasn't that big.
40 ain't too bad.
Oh, I
It's a
love
lot
it.
to milk.
It is a lot. Did you milk it by hand?
No, this pipeline milker.
Okay, that's good.
45 is a herd that I like to milk.
You like to milk 45?
With a pipeline milker.
Mm.
She enjoyed milking cows.
My husband told me I sung more in the cow barn than I did anywhere else.
Had good acoustics in there.
I've only been in one milk barn. And that was at the Meesemer's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. They were a big family.
Sarah Meesemer.
Mm-hmm.
There's not hardly a dairy left in West Plains.
I doubt the Meesemers are Darien
I think they
nowadays.
moved away, didn't they? Or maybe I'm just thinking, what was the older girl's name? She married
Sherry?
Charlotte.
Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte or...
Yeah, I think you worked with her for a little bit and she was a mess at that time.
She's always been a mess.
Charlotte Meesemer.
Yeah.
But she married Vi's.
But she's a
Son.
cousin.
That's true.
She's the cousin of Sarah and
That's
Mary.
true.
Because it's Wayne, Sarah, Mary. Is that it? Just the three?
I don't remember, honey.
It's the cousins that had like 6. But they all lived together on
They
that.
did.
The cousins were like 6 siblings. Because that was Jesse, Jimmy.
It was an
Shit.
interesting family. Anyway, I thought it was neat. You kind of got to hang out with them a little bit.
I liked having, I don't know, it was cool, because I should be knowing farm stuff. But anyway, it was cool that I got to see a bunch of hogs. And then when we had breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning, they were like, we raised this hog, and or this sausage. And I was like, that's so cool.
And they had rabbits, I believe.
I don't
Too.
remember that.
Geese, ducks.
They were a cool family.
Old McDonald Farm.
It was. I was so glad that Jenny and Ann, they both got to go over there and hang out with them. And it wasn't that far away from where
And we
lived.
even went to, no, they lived on Grovestown Road somewhere out there. I don't
It could
remember
still
now.
take you there.
But, they took us to a barnyard dance too, one time. And that was really cool, because it was like a bunch of country people. And I lived out on FF Highway, like, I should know about this stuff. But I didn't, but it's like what you hear in country songs about, you go to these barn dances out in the middle of someone's
The Waltons.
Oh,
yeah.
something your grandpa John was telling us, which was interesting to me. I'd never heard him talk about it before. But when they lived up in Kansas, his mom and dad had a barn, an old barn, and the loft, they had dances up in the barn loft and had people come. And I thought, really? Never heard you talk about that. I said, that's so cool. Anyway,
To tell you the truth, I don't know anything about Grandpa John.
no,
Nor Grandma June.
I don't know much about him, and that was just like a really neat story to have heard.
Mhm.
I thought, well, that's interesting.
I don't know anything about him.
Can you imagine a barn that big enough, though?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Oh, what?
Grandma, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that barn where I grew up,
that
The-
red barn,
yeah, the loft was big.
was it?
Yes.
We had
Oh.
a half-court basketball court in the loft of our barn. in
Really?
York, yeah. It was easily big enough for a dance. I'd never seen anything like it when I was a kid.
I think he even said there was like benches sitting around that loft for them to sit on. I think that would be so neat. I know I was born in the wrong era.
I was born in just the right time.
Nope,
So
wrong
was
era. I should have been born a long time ago.
Not me.
I think I was born at a good time.
My husband used to say he was born in the golden years.
It's true.
22.
Oh, he was. The roaring 20s.
22.
Yeah, 'cause
He said it's the best time that the United States had had.
oh,
Well, Depression hit after that, though.
90s have been okay. I've lived through two, what do you call it, fallouts.
Inflation.
I've lived through inflation, but also the crashing, the market crashes, and 9/11. It's a good time to be alive, especially in Missouri.
Okay, dear.
It's in Missouri, so it doesn't affect me much. Being in Missouri.
Well, before we got the pipeline milker, I was milking 10 cows by hand. But my goodness, we made money off that back then. And you could take a baby calf,
But not so much nowadays.
and I think we got $40 out of a baby calf, just freshly born. A bull calf.
$40?
That was
Okay.
good.
It was, we made
I
money.
remember selling the calf, and you know what I got for it?
No.
$12.
They are after that, things went down.
$12. Yep.
I don't remember who was
'Cause I would
president
get
at
a
the
calf.
time.
Daddy would because I helped with the pigs and I helped with the calves and all that. And I would get a calf once in a while, or I would get some pigs and I could use that money to go get school clothes and stuff with. A calf, $12. I was so rich.
You're getting dusty up in here.
Oh, honey, there's no dust in my house.
That's what I used to think.
Can't think that way anymore.
No.